Before he ever stepped inside a professional mixed martial arts cage to trade brutal punches for millions of dollars, Dan Henderson was already an elite international sports warrior. He proudly represented the United States of America in Greco-Roman wrestling during 2 consecutive Olympic Games, in 1992 and 1996. This highly grueling, world-class athletic background provided him with a profound level of core strength, body leverage, and an unbreakable mental fortitude. He brought the strict, old-school discipline of an elite Olympic athlete directly into the wild, early days of no-holds-barred fighting tournaments. Dan did not rely on flashy movements or complicated strategies. He used his world-class grappling credentials to dictate exactly where the violent battle took place. His wrestling foundation instilled a rare confidence that allowed him to completely neutralize opponents, setting a solid physical bedrock for what would become a legendary career. What truly transformed Dan Henderson from a standard, elite wrestling grinder into one of the most terrifying knockout artists in history was his right hand. Affectionately nicknamed the H-bomb by fans and fighters alike, this single weapon possessed the absolute power to alter human reality in a fraction of a second. It was an incredibly heavy, overhand right punch delivered with the raw force of a falling sledgehammer, putting the world's most durable legends completely to sleep. He was a master of hiding this devastating shot behind a heavy inside low leg kick, a sequence that became his absolute signature trademark inside the cage. The moment his opponents dropped their guard to defend their legs, the H-bomb would land flush on their jawline, ending the fight instantly. That single-punch nuclear power turned his bouts into highly anticipated spectacles, as audiences knew he could score a dramatic knockout at any given second of the round. The absolute historical pinnacle of Dan's legendary fighting career occurred during the golden, magical era of the PRIDE Fighting Championships in Japan. He achieved an absolutely unprecedented, historic feat by capturing the welterweight and middleweight championship titles simultaneously under the promotion's banner. This monumental achievement made him the very first multi-divisional champion in major MMA history, a record that stood solid for many long years after. The passionate Japanese crowds completely fell in love with his rugged, stoic American warrior persona and his absolute willingness to fight anyone, anytime. He defeated iconic legends back-to-back, utilizing his unique combination of elite wrestling defense and single-punch knockout power to dominate the rings. For a brilliant moment in time, Hendo was officially recognized not just as a champion, but as one of the most dangerous pound-for-pound fighters walking the earth. The true, undeniable measure of Dan Henderson's fierce warrior spirit was his absolute, lifelong refusal to ever turn down a dangerous fight challenge. Throughout his iconic multi-decade career, he seamlessly jumped between middleweight, light heavyweight, and even the heavyweight division without a single complaint. He actively sought out the absolute most terrifying monsters of his generation, testing his iron chin against the elite of the elite combat sports world. He shared the cage with historic icons like Fedor Emelianenko, Anderson Silva, Mauricio Shogun Rua, Daniel Cormier, and Vitor Belfort across multiple promotions. Even when he was vastly outweighed on the scale by natural heavyweights, Dan walked forward with the exact same stoic, cold confidence. This complete lack of fear regarding weight limits or physical danger turned his career into a legendary gauntlet, earning him the eternal respect of fight purists worldwide. The year 2009 provided fight fans with arguably the most famous, iconic knockout image in the entire history of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. At the monumental UFC 100 event, after months of intense pre-fight trash talk from his opposing coach Michael Bisping, Dan delivered the definitive H-bomb heard around the world. The spectacular, airborne finishing punch became an instant, timeless highlight that will continue to be replayed for generations to come. Just a few years later, he engaged in an absolute, bloody 5-round war against Mauricio Shogun Rua at UFC 139, a fight universally hailed as one of the greatest battles ever witnessed inside the famous octagon. Dan proved that even as an older veteran approaching his 40s, his warrior heart and endurance were completely limitless. These historic moments transcended standard sporting events, elevating Hendo from a regular champion into an immortal combat legend. When Dan Henderson finally hung up his gloves in 2016 after a final, breathtaking title fight challenge at 46 years old, an entire era officially concluded. He was rightfully inducted into the prestigious UFC Hall of Fame, ensuring his monumental contributions to martial arts will forever be revered by history. He entered the fighting game as a quiet Olympic wrestler from California and left it as one of the most respected pioneers to ever lace up a pair of gloves. Future generations of mixed martial artists will continually study his legendary durability, Greco-Roman clinch control, and timing, trying in vain to replicate his magic. He showed the world that a fighter could achieve immortality through raw grit, an unbreakable chin, and an absolute dedication to facing the best. The legendary H-bomb has officially been disarmed, but Dan's iconic, battle-tested silhouette remains permanently etched into combat sports history.